Hey everybody, this video will cover N400 vocabulary on the topic of moral character. Let's get started. So the first topic is alcohol and drugs, and the first word you need to know is drunkard. Drunkard. This is a noun and it means a person who is addicted to alcohol. This is a person who drinks alcohol until it makes them sick. A drunkard. Addiction to alcohol is a very old problem. Drunkard is an old word for a person with this problem. So today we would call them an alcoholic. But in the N400 interview, the word is drunkard. And obviously, alcohol is a serious problem for some people. A drunkard, an alcoholic, may have trouble keeping their job, paying their bills, or taking care of their family. The next word you need to know is habitual. Habitual. And this is an adjective. It describes something which is repeated a lot, or something which continues over a long period of time. For example, in the US, the habitual greeting is a warm handshake. That's the habitual greeting. Or Pablo's habitual greeting was a fist bump. So habitual, it's like the normal one, the one that's repeated. Now, Carolina's habitual absences caused her to fail the class. This makes sense, right? If you are absent a lot, or if you repeat your absences, that can cause you to get bad grades. And my daughter brightens my day with her habitual smile. So, many of our children are like this. They have a habitual smile. They have a habitual way of being happy. So that's something that's repeated again and again. Now, I want to come back to the word of drunkard because this is often used as a phrase together, like a habitual drunkard. If you are a habitual drunkard, you probably have many problems in your life, which you can imagine. Many problems cause people to be a habitual drunkard, and then once you have that problem, that causes other problems. So I want you to be, prepared to hear these words in a phrase. Let's do a little bit of practice. I have some conversation questions for you, and I suggest that you pause the video, write your opinion, write your answers on a piece of paper, and then maybe open this video and practice the questions with a friend or a family member. Number 1, do you have a problem with habitual absences at your work? Do you have a problem with habitual absences at your class? Have you ever been a habitual drunkard? Do you know anyone who has a problem with habitual drug use? If your family member had a problem with habitual marijuana use, what would you do to help them? So sometimes just using those words in a conversation can help you remember them. I highly recommend it. For the moment, let's move on to the new topic, which is gambling. Gamble is a verb, and it means to play games that have money as a prize for the winner. Basically, this is to play games for money. And for example, my friends play poker on the weekends, but I don't go with them. I don't have money for gambling. For many years, Las Vegas was the only place in the US that you could gamble legally, which is kind of interesting. That explains why it was so popular. The next one, if you gamble and you win a lot of money, you usually have to pay some taxes on that. So if we want to do a little bit of conversation on this topic of gambling, I might ask this. Have you ever been to Las Vegas? If so, did you gamble? Do you have any places for gambling in your community? If so, give the name of one. What are the pros and cons of gambling? In other words, what are the good points and bad points of gambling? And do you think that gambling is an addiction, the same as taking drugs is an addiction? That's kind of an interesting question. So if you want, pause the video and write down your answers to these questions on a piece of paper. When you're ready, start the video again. Ready to go? The last topic in this lesson is supporting your family. And the word support is a verb that means to help and take care of someone, especially to provide money for food, housing, clothes, etc. That's to support someone. So David is a good guy. He works hard to support his wife and daughter. In this picture, this man is putting some money in the mail. Jeff doesn't live with his kids right now, but he still supports them. It means he sends money to them. He makes sure that they have the things that they need. So if you're separated or if you're divorced, in the N400 interview, this is a question that can come up. Do you support your children even though you don't live with them? The next word, and this is an interesting one, the word is alimony. Alimony. This is a noun, and this is the meaning. After a divorce, if the law requires the ex-spouse to pay money and support the other ex-spouse, this is alimony. It's money that you give to an ex-wife or an ex-husband in order to continue support even after you're not married. So this is a right that's part of the marriage contract. In many cases, is the payment of alimony. After his divorce, Matthew paid alimony for 5 years. That's just an example. Let's see. Jerry pays $500 a month in child support and $500 a month in alimony. I don't really know what the normal amounts are, but yeah, after a divorce is settled, the judge tells everybody what to do. Many times there are arrangements like this. So for the final practice here, I have some conversation questions for you. Do you support your children? And sometimes in the N400 they will ask you, how do you support your children? Have you ever failed to support your children? That means if you ever didn't support your children, what was the situation? Do you pay alimony? Why or why not? So not everybody pays alimony because not everybody is divorced. But if you do pay alimony, why or why not? Or if you are divorced, do you pay alimony? And have you ever failed to pay alimony? So that's a responsibility. If you had some problems with that, it's something that can come up in this interview. Just as a review, in this lesson you have learned 5 new words: habitual, drunkard, gamble, support, and alimony.